Officers, detectives, and staff, I've got an idea that's going to cause a major breakthrough in our success in the community, and I want you to listen up and listen good. For the past 20 years, we've been doing everything we can to fight crime. We cleaned up our ranks. We upgraded our technology in all the police cars, added cameras to the cars. We learned new negotiation techniques that work with the worst of the terrorists with hostages. We got training so we don't make mistakes with arrests. But one thing we didn't do was look at our ability to really see faces. And guys, if you can't see a face for what it is, you're missing a lot. Think about it. How are you going to remember the suspects you arrested last week if you can't see the face in your mind? If you can't see it, you can't match it on new faces on the street. It's simple. Officer Rinsler, do you have a question?
Yeah, with all due respect, Chief. We learned how to remember a face in our police training. We're already well trained.
Yes, and what did you learn?
When you see a face, you quickly scan the face and look for the most unique feature, like a big nose, a tattoo on the cheek, a missing tooth, and that's what you remember.
Exactly my point. How many criminals have a missing tooth or a big nose? How you learned to remember a face is archaic. We are going to be learning the whole science of face recognition. We'll use the Who Was That Person series of books. They're short enough and very focused. You can get mastery as you go along, one feature at a time, starting with the most important features first, the ones in the T-zone. Poonsy, can you put up that picture of the T-zone on the screen?
Done, Chief.
Look at this, guys. Once you get the T-zone down pat on a face, you can identify the face no matter how they try to disguise themselves. They can wear a hoodie, cut their hair, wear a mask, glasses, it doesn't matter. All the rest of the details you got on them become so accurate that no one gets away. And that's the point. Criminals get the message, we can identify them. Today, tomorrow, next week, and next month.
It sounds complicated. Is it going to slow us down in our response time interacting with suspects, Chief?
No, not at all. Just as quickly as you glance at a face, you're going to be taking in all the details of the face. You will have a learning curve, of course, but we've had a chance to figure out how to lower that amount of time, too. Officer Berry, what's your question?
Chief, is this new way going to work with our current face recognition software in our cars?
Actually, it's an upgrade to that software since the software depends on you to make decisions, but doesn't give you any way to do that. The software can give you 4 faces of potential subjects, and they look vastly different from each other. Some of you can't tell those 4 faces apart. This is where paying attention to the details is super important. An example of the software not good enough is when you go to the airport. They have all the software to match faces to the database of criminals, yet the NSA agent is the one that has to make a decision. Well, he never did anything to upgrade his skills, so you might as well put an 11-year-old in there to do his job. The 11-year-old would have skills just as good.
Got it, Chief. But how do you know an 11-year-old has equal skills?
Face recognition scientists have already proven that skills and identification don't improve past the age of 11 unless you are trained. I expect all of you, no exceptions, to master this. Right now, 11-year-olds and whole families are mastering this, and you can too. Officer Fender, did you have a question?
Yes, Chief. I was just wondering how the company did their training.
Great question. We don't want to spend any time on any untested methods. Yeah, the founder originally took 4.5 years to create the way to look at a face for flawless identification. She tested it on the public and on the police and FBI in Sacramento, California back in 2005. In her pilot studies, the initial face recognition skills of the police were only 5% better than the public's. They did one 45-minute-long training and their scores doubled on the test. We can expect an increase in face recognition ability from seeing only 5 characteristics on the face up to 25 or even 30 with this training over about a month's time frame. We're going to extend the training so we can develop the mastery, just like the founder recommends.
Chief, what type of results to the force do you expect from this training?
I expect officers on the street to identify the faces of those they have arrested in the past. This way you can keep a closer eye on them and their shenanigans. I expect you guys at the community centers to talk to the neighborhood watch groups and encourage them to learn these skills. Crime prevention only happens when there's a marriage of the minds in the community and us, and that marriage needs some training and new skills. I expect more arrests, less mistaken identity, and more confidence in you doing your job. Poonsy, tell them how we're going to start and about the funding.
We've ordered 300 of the first books for training to start with all the staff. A philanthropist in town donated them and wants to be kept anonymous. They've even paid for us to get the journals for each one of you and to throw the eyebrow hunt parties. So, we're gonna focus on eyebrows this week. You start today.
Yes. Fender, can you help and start passing out the book and the journals? Yeah, I know a lot of you guys think journaling is for sissies, but you're going to be required to do your homework. Each of you were hired because you want to be the best, and you're going to have to set aside your ideas on what's sissy-like and what's not. You have 10 days to complete reading the book, only about 100 pages, and start doing the eyebrow hunts. You have to trust me on this one. It's going to be fun. And then we're going to throw an eyebrow hunt party, a big bash for you and your families. It'll be fun, guaranteed. No alcohol, of course. Then you'll work on the eyes, and then the next feature. You'll have the T-zone done in the first month. Officer Berry, what's your question?
No question. I just want to say I'm proud to be working with a department that is so ahead of its time. I can foresee this is going to be a really good move and is going to put us on the map for what we do in our community.
Woo! Yeah!
Who was that person? How to identify someone from just their eyebrows. It's the next step into 21st century crime tactics that really work.